Welcome to the Township of Washington, December 21st council meeting. Council meetings are now live streamed. To view the council meetings live, go to WCTV NJ's YouTube here and click on channel Township Council Meetings. The YouTube live stream will be available to view during the live council meeting. And hopefully for the next meeting in the first of the year, we will have the waiting room for people to log in through Ninja to ask questions. Okay. Welcome to the regularly scheduled public meeting of December 21st, 2020 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible. Amen. Amen.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Cumming.
Here.
Councilman DeSena.
Here.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Here.
Council President Feeney.
Here. Let the record also reflect in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Administrator Tovo, Township Attorney Power, and Township Clerk Wachowski. Public service announcement, December 21st, 2020. For the latest coronavirus updates and message from our health officer, please visit the Township website. For COVID testing, Bergen County has launched a drive-through COVID testing site at Bergen Community College through December 30th, 2020. The program will offer antigen nasal swab rapid COVID-19 tests and provide results in 24 hours or less. Please visit our website for dates and registration information. Council meetings are now live streamed. To view the council meetings, please visit the Township website for further information. Kindergarten registration has opened. Please visit our website for registration information. For the holidays, holiday home decorating contest. Bring out the tinsel, bring out the bows, bring out the lights, and cue the snow. Enter the Township of Washington's holiday home decorating contest. Winners, your home will be featured on social media and a winner chosen through online voting, plus a holiday prize basket and lawn sign displaying your achievement. Deadline for all entries must be submitted by 6 p.m. on Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020. Online voting begins December 24th and ends on midnight through January 2nd, 2021. Winner will be announced on January 3rd on Facebook. Entries will help create a map for families to visit your creative work in person. 2020 PVA Toy Drive. The 32nd annual PVA Toy Drive is happening. Over 45 participating agencies collecting toys to make the holidays special. Tomorrow's Children's Hospital, U.S. Military Family, Valley Hospital Pediatric Center are a few organizations that benefit from our toy drive. Please donate a new toy to our police headquarters located at 350 Hudson Avenue. The Washington Township Fire Department Christmas Tree Sale. This year, the fire department is selling trees, wreaths, and other greens at Memorial Field daily from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tree prices range from $25 to $150. Zoning Board of Adjustment seeking members. The Township Council is soliciting resumes and/or letters of interest qualifications from Township residents to be appointed to the Zoning Board for 2 regular members and 1 alternate member. The functions of the board are described in the Township Code, Chapter 585. All interested parties are asked to submit documents by the end of business day, December 28, 2020, to be considered for the appointment. Please submit letters to Susan Wachowski, Township Clerk, 350 Hudson Avenue, Township of Washington, or electronically to Sue Witkowski, subject ZBA appointment. Her email address is on the town's website. Okay, sorry. No approval of minutes. Mr. Mayor, you are going to recognize the Township Westwood Cardinals Junior Football Cheer Program.
Yes, thank you. I'm just going to do a quick introduction and then turn it over. But again, I want to congratulate the combined programs with Westwood of the Junior Cardinal Football Program. who won their championship over Norwood by a score of 12-7, and the junior cheer program. The girls, boys, and all involved work extremely hard in a difficult year. We are teaching our children at a young age they can accomplish almost anything when they work together as a team. Now, with the council president's permission, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes, please. Thank you, Councilwoman Morgan.
Thank you. I just want to recognize the girls from both towns. I think that it was not an ideal year for several obvious reasons, because of COVID and all the restrictions and the change in the norm that we used to know it for cheerleading. I was surprised we even had a season, let alone the season that it turned out to be. So I just want to commend the girls for being so able to kind of roll with the punches, still keeping that spirit. The boys, congratulations, you did a beautiful job. We are definitely stronger united. So I think it's an excellent, I think it's great that we did unite towns. It's been a long time coming for football. With cheer, there's definitely opportunity for improvement. We will come back stronger, more solid next year, but I honestly think we did such a fantastic job. I'm so proud of the girls. Can I read some of their names?
Absolutely. Thank you. That'd be great.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said. So first off, I would like to recognize the adult volunteers who make this possible. Obviously, as cheer coordinator in the past, we try to be at everything, but if not for the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to pull this off. So the junior Township of Washington and Westwood Cardinal cheerleaders, the adult volunteers, Holly Goldman, Judy Zatolo, and Mary Griffin, I want to thank you. Without you guys there again, there was no way that we could have that many girls. I believe there were close to 30 girls on the squad. Holly and Judy I've worked with through cheer for the last several years, and I got to tell you, I feel like I could put a skirt on them and they could be cheerleaders. They have so much energy and spunk, and they make it fun. So a lot of that goes a really long way. So I thank you ladies so much for seeing it through this year, navigating the difficult changes, and being the models that you are. So thank you, Riley Barbieri, Gina Castanova, Isabella Costa, Christina Costa, Ellie DiPiero, Ava Duran, Maya Goldman, Heather Griffin, Ella Iani, Samantha Lenari, Saya Lauerman, Alana Lucas, Madison Machione, Madison Mahoney, Molly McGinty, Ava Meiston, Alexis Morris, Madison Nisi, Lucy Olea, Emma Claire Reedy, Isabella Realbuto, Ellery Roberts, Gabriella Ruska, Juliana Sembler, Aaliyah Carabacchia, Elizabeth Toscana, Anya Waring, and Jenna Zatolo. Thank you, ladies. You did an amazing job. You embody what it means to be a true cheerleader, spirit leader. Basically, you didn't let COVID stop you. You're resilient, you're beautiful, you're talented, and I was very, very proud to see you guys cheer out there and not letting anything hold you back. So excellent job. And I know the boys won because you guys were watching. So good job to you.
Thank you. That's great. That's fantastic. And congratulations.
I believe Mr. Joe Scalia may be on the phone, and he's going to recognize.
I'm here, guys, and I'm on the phone with head coach Chris Bolger. I'm going to hand it over to Chris Bolger, and then I'll finish up. Chris? Good evening. Thank you guys so much for taking the moment to recognize what the boys accomplished this season together. I know you guys said it. I just heard it now from the council. This is a long time coming. Two great towns finally breaking through the barriers and combining and hopefully forming what turns out to be one incredible program from here on forward. This year was, as everyone keeps saying, very difficult. We had 2 shutdowns. I'm very proud of the boys, the coaches. They came back each time more determined. They worked hard. We made it through the season. There were some obstacles. We made it, but this couldn't have worked out better with the 2 towns combining. Coaches were amazing. We formed the Cardinal team now, and we look forward to a bright future with not only these boys, but the boys of the future, and obviously anybody from the past is always welcome back as well. Again, thank you so much for your support. Without the councils in Westwood and Township and, the rec directors and programs, this wouldn't have even been possible. President Wingate from the organization this year did an amazing job, and I know next year, things will change and we'll be evolving into one bigger board of members and everything like that, which will be great. But my experience with the combination couldn't have worked out any better. Everything went smooth. The kids were great. They all got along. They worked together, and their hard work paid off. This junior group, I'm very proud of them. For everything, they found a way. We got to the championship. We were able to win it, and it's a testament to how hard they worked, their determination, their fire. Incredible group of kids to coach. From every one of those kids, each had a role on this team, and no one was one more important than the other. And I couldn't be prouder of the coaches. If you like, I can just quickly run down the players' names and the coaches, if you will. I'd just like to recognize. First, we'll go with the players. Joey Bolger, Ryan Carnahan, Kate Casimiro, Andrew Clausen, Anthony Delarada, Liam Erickson, Giuliano Fernandini, Brady Gallagher, Derek Garcia, Michael Greco, Tyler Hansen, Nicholas Klein, Jake Lenari, Jason Lucius, Dante Macula, Ryan Marrero, Joseph Contino, Jackson Ramos, Trey Ristevsky, Lucas Scalia, Patrick Stark, Logan Stewart, Bruno Vega, Santiago Vinces, Derek Wingate, and coaches. I just got to give them a shout out. It was the best coaching staff. We had such a great time, and everybody worked wonders with the kids. Couldn't be prouder of these guys. They gave so much time, and the time that they gave and the effort they gave matched the kids, and obviously the result was a Super Bowl championship. First year out of the gate, which is pretty good. Coach Dave Delarada, Coach Kurt Gallagher, Coach Phil Bacacci, Coach Ben Wingate, Coach Joe Scalia, and Coach Joe Lavanzola. And thank you very much for your time. I'll turn it back over to Joe Scalia, and we greatly appreciate the support now and hopefully in the future as well.
Thank you, Chris. And I just want to take a moment to thank Chris Bolger. He did an amazing job. We had 4 weeks that we were quarantined, and we still came back. Under Chris's leadership, we would not have been able to do it. So, Chris, thank you so much. And we just want to echo that Washington Township and Westwood combined, there's no team, right? It's not Westwood Cardinals. It's not Township Cardinals. It's the Cardinals. And that's what we're focused on. And we want to thank and recognize the Township officials. First of all, Mayor Calamari, thank you for your support for youth sports. Thank you for your commitment to maintain our facilities, such as Memorial Field. Thank you for everything you've done. All the council members, especially Desiree. We've coached before and with the girls in basketball, and you have been a true example of what it means to volunteer in a town. So thank you so much for your support with the cheerleaders and everything you do for the town and all the council members. Thank you. The rec department, I want to thank Eamon Fatumi, Joe Sadicase, and then from the DPW, Dan Scuderi. Thank you so much for all your support. And lastly, we have to thank all the parents and the volunteers. We have a group of individuals, parents, both in Township and Westwood, who every week sending out emails, helping the kids get ready, lining the fields, the volunteers, the parents across the community. It's usually the same parents every year, but I want to thank them all for your commitment. And this is what really makes our towns really spectacular place to grow our kids and continue growing our kids. So on behalf of myself and Coach Bolger, we want to wish you a happy holidays, remain safe, and we look forward to next year's season and hopefully bring it back home for the Cardinals. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scalia. That's a very heartfelt congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. You guys deserve everything, all the accolades. Thank you. Great
Council
job.
President. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm actually going to add on to your remarks, if I may, and Council President, with your permission. Fortunately for me, I have firsthand experiences on tonight's topic. I have two grandchildren, Gina and Anthony. My grandson Anthony is Cardinal football player on the Pee Wee level, and granddaughter Gina is a Cardinal cheerleader on the junior level. My grandson actually joined the Westwood football last year prior to this merger. It was a wonderful experience for him at that time. Last year, AJ walked onto the field not knowing anybody, and Coach Carl Makula and his staff welcomed him and taught my grandson the sport of football in a truly enjoyable season, watching my grandson play. This year, with the merger of the towns, it was truly impressive. And it was wonderful to see our residents part of this program. My granddaughter, Gina, has worked this year hard, considering the circumstances. Township volunteers, Mrs. Zotolo and Mrs. Goldman, were amazing. And I look forward to seeing the granddaughter and the cheerleaders flourish this next year. Forgive me. Go Cards.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to see. Thank you so much.
Yes. Great job.
Yes, that was really nice, and it's really great to hear that.
It was a thrilling experience, believe me, for the children and for us.
Okay, so moving on to the general public comment portion of our meeting. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please dial in on 201-664-4659. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. There is a 5-minute time limit per caller. Please note that this is public comment, and comments by the council or mayor or administrator will be at the end of the public comment section. At the end, no more calls will be accepted. Motion to open the public comment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sue? Thank you.
Is there anyone on the line?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Hello? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, we can, yes.
Okay, hi. My name is Megan DePiero.
Hi, Megan, how are you?
Good, how are you? I just
Good.
want to thank everybody that just spoke, because I am a actual coach of, a volunteer coach of the Pee Wees, and I did before that flag. And I want to give a lot of recognition to Desiree Morgan, who had a huge impact on that program. And I loved seeing the Cardinals together, and Westwood and Washington Township together. It was great to see, because that's who we are, that's what we are, and that's what we will be going forward. So I just want to thank everybody for a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. DePiero, for calling in.
Megan, what is your address?
You all.
Megan,
Yes.
what is your address?
My address is 28 Gabriel Way in
Thank
Township.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, good evening. Is there anyone else on the line?
Yep. Hello.
Yes.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Levy on 275 Wilson Avenue.
Yes, Mrs. Levy, how are you?
Good, thank you. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. I have a question about the trees that are next to the doghouse. So the back of my house is on Hudson. And when I was pulling out this morning, I saw somebody who was part of town, and they were putting the yellow rope around those trees. I know they're marked with an X, with an orange X. When I've looked into this before, it was looking as a possibility of something, but the person who I spoke with said the trees will be cut down to put a shed there, something about stalls and trucks. So I would like to get more information on that. I'd also like to ask, if this is the decision being made, is there any other alternative? When was the final decision made? How much does it cost to cut down trees, uproot roots, pay for an engineer, flatten the land with soil, and what's the final cost of all of that? Because I know that there was alternative options that cost money, but there was comments about that cost that, made the council look at other places. I don't know if this is the best place. I also want to point out that there is a fox family that lives right there by that river. He passes through every night, going to his home. So was some type of environmental survey done, because there's lots of birds that live there. There's a fox family that lives there. It's uprooting a whole, disturbance of environment. And so I'd like more information, please.
Okay, Mrs. Levy, I just had one question. You, in the beginning, there was just some feedback, and you had said who did you speak to?
I didn't get a name. It was a person. Yes.
Was it a town employee, or do you not know?
Yes, it was. It was a town employee who was putting the yellow rope around the trees.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. There was just some feedback in the beginning, and I missed that part.
Yes. So I'd like some feedback on that, please.
Okay, so we will be commenting at the end if you would like to keep watching, or if you can see the meeting on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
She did say that it was she lives across from the property behind the doghouse, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I had some feedback here, so. Okay, is there anyone else on the line?
Hi, this is Diane Grimaldi, 441 Van Emberg Avenue.
Yes, Mrs. Grimaldi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I have the same question I've asked at the last two council meetings about the resolution to refund the Vivianos for $12,500 and something for overpayment of 2020 taxes. I don't understand how, knowing the Vivianos, how they could have sent a check for that amount of money, since they have had woodland farmland status since 2019. And I was wondering if I could get some clarity on how that mistake was made.
Thank you, Mrs. Grimaldi.
Okay, thank you. Whether it was the tax collector, the tax assessor, did the Vivianos actually pay a check for $12,500 and something in 2020? That's my question. Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the line?
Yes, hello.
Yes, good evening. Your name and address, please?
Michael Ullman, 2 Clark Avenue in the township.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Ullman.
Good evening. I wanted to just follow up and see if the tax assessor had provided feedback on the determination of the sunset of the farmland exclusion on the Viviano property. If there is a particular event that will force or change that designation for the farmland, and will it become a taxable or a fully taxable piece of property? So I don't know if that was provided previously. If it was, my apologies, but I don't recall. So that question was outstanding. I also wanted to ask, were any grants submitted for the pumper engine that is being delivered for the tower that is on order, or for the emergency services building? Given that we have a grant writer that is on retainer, and I believe we pay $2,500 a month for their services, I just wanted to know, did they provide or did they apply for any grants? On the list of bills, page 1 of 4, there is a tree removal, 988 Adams. I was wondering why the township was paying for the removal of trees on a private property. With regard to the discussions and the OLGC contract for parking of DMF or DPW vehicles, did the tax assessor make a determination of the impact of the tax status on OLGC? You don't imagine that parking is a part of their mission as a Catholic institution. So if they're doing that for revenue, did it impact their tax status, and would their exemption or a portion of their exemption been overwritten or annulled? And would we have had a tax claim on the property for OLGC? My last question goes back to the status of background checks. Very inspiring discussion earlier, congratulating all of the football players and the cheerleaders. We went through a list, or the speakers went through a list of adult volunteers who have worked with those programs. And it's not clear to me that we're doing background checks on those individuals. And we were told, there's no basketball, so there's nothing to do. There's no lacrosse, there's nothing to do. Clearly there was football. Clearly there was cheer. And I believe they participated on township property, which is part of the ordinance. So have we done background checks? What is the status? And are we ever going to do them? Or do we just not care? Because that's really what it comes down to. And those are my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the line?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Anthony Udina, 876 Ridgewood Boulevard East.
Yes, Mr. Udina, how are you?
In the last meeting, it was discussed about 450 Pascack, and then also there would be a closed session after that meeting. I was just wondering if there's anything that can be disclosed from that closed session, any update that you can talk about that was a part of that closed session. So that's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, thank you for calling in, Mr. Udina. Happy holidays. Is there anyone else on the line?
Why did you say happy holidays to one person and not somebody else?
Motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, so just a few things. Mr. Pollard, just back on Viviano, do you want to comment? You're on mute, just so you know. I know that we did address Viviano at the end of last meeting's comment section. I'm not sure if Mr. Ullman heard it, but should we just start with that one?
Well, let me do this. I did ask for that to be pulled. Some developments today impacts that, and I asked that to be pulled. So if you would just take that off, I would appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. It's considered done.
Yeah, and I actually had mentioned that. Now, as far I thought the refund, that was the refund. As far as the sunset situation, it's when the property is not used for farmland anymore. There's no quote just sunset time wise. It's a matter of usage. Now, this is a question for the assessor directly, because I'd like to know, and I think Mr. Ullman would like to know, does that mean when they get approval for a different use? Is it that they have to actually build it? Is it they'll stop using it for wood? Clearly, the statute talks about the changing in use and that there's a 2-year rollback. But the actual implementation of it, I'm sure, is in the assessor's manual. So if somebody would give the assessor a call and get a definitive event or events that generate the changeover, that would be the right thing to get from Mr. Ullman.
Okay, Mr. Tovo, would you please take Mr. Pollar's questions to the assessor?
Yes, I spoke to the assessor today on this topic, and yes, if they're not compliant with the Farmland Act, then they would lose that designation. There's no sunset unless the property is applied for a new use or they fail to meet the requirements.
Okay, so just to clarify, the type of the application of the farmland will change when they're not in compliance or there's a new use determined for the property. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, correct, Mr. Pollard?
That's not the question I was asked. The question I was asked was, what is the rollback period of when that changes?
No, I answered that 3 times already. I said 2 years. It's 2 years.
Okay, that was the question.
No, Councilman DeSena, he did ask when it does end in addition. So that I do have that question written down. So, and we did actually address that last time too.
Yeah,
so, and then the other thing.
Rollback is not sunset though.
Right. Is there a way you could explain the difference?
Well, rollback means you get the taxes from the 2 years previously. You get the taxes back. Sunset means that they don't get the application of the farmland assessment going forward, and that's a function of the change in use. What I said is, and I guess I made it a little bit more technical, was yes, the statute talks about change in use, and I mentioned that. And what I threw out was there may be something in the manual for the assessor as to whether that is an approval for a different use, whether it's the actual implementation of the use, getting a permit, putting a shovel in the ground, making an improvement. So I just said to refer that to the assessor to get a little more clarification.
Okay. And Mr. Tovo, could you take that specific piece of the question back to the assessor and have her check the manual?
I certainly will.
Okay. And then, so we're clear on that. And do we know if, because I'm sure this question is going to come up, do we know if this rollback or sunset's going to apply here or?
Okay, let's stop with equating sunset and rollback.
That's what I want you to clarify, because I'm afraid that we're going to get this question again. So.
Okay. Sunset to me means something automatically is over. That's when the assessment for the particular tax year would not be applicable as a farmland. That's sunset. Rollback is previous taxes for 2 years. There's a recoupment of taxes for the 2 years that the farmland was in effect. Okay, 2 different things. But again, the assessor could further clarify this. He could do a little memo, would be nice. Get some, really something specific that could be read to somebody. That would be fine. Should not be a problem. It's pretty basic for an assessor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Tovo, could you take that specific aspect back to the tax assessor, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and then in regards to, I'm going to defer to the mayor and Mr. Tovo regarding the property behind the doghouse.
Yeah, I have that later on in the meeting, so if it's okay, I'll go through my report later on, unless you want me to accelerate it to now.
I think that's okay, if that's okay with the rest of the council members.
Sure. Okay.
Can I answer the background check?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going down my list. Go ahead.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Mr. Ullman, for bringing it forward, and not letting it fall by the wayside. I appreciate that. I too want to see it happen for all volunteers. I did speak with Mr. Tovo, and apparently there have been, we are, to be honest, as far as cheer goes, I do not believe, I know I was not, my background was not checked. So I'm assuming neither were the rest of the cheerleaders, to be transparent, volunteers. We do need to make that a priority, 100%. And I did say personally that I will work on that. And I did speak with Mr. Tovo. He has assured me that it is a work in progress, that apparently the company that baseball uses, the town would like to use the same company so that we can all be united. And Mr. Tovo, you can speak to this too, but you wanted it more uniform across all of the activities. And they weren't getting back to us. But here's the other caveat to that.
Desiree, baseball was never asked. We use LexisNexis. Mr. Scuderi and I were never asked about it.
That's not true, Mr. DeSena. I did speak to Dan about it.
It's part of our, and you were advised it's part of our charter. We can't add people to it. It's only for Little League chartered sanctioned events.
We weren't trying to use your account. We were trying to set up our own account.
Right. They just wanted to use.
That's not what Desiree just said.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Then I misspoke. I understand he wants to use the same organization that does the background check so that we're all unified in who our vendors are or whatever you want to call them that we use the backgrounds for. My problem is that I don't think it's just for sports. I think it does extend out to all volunteers, and I'm not so sure that's an easy undertaking. So I think we need more clarity on what's required, but also what we want as a town. Personally, even if it's not required, I would like to ask that all adult volunteers do receive a background check. And if LexisNexis is who the baseball team uses, and they're not getting back to us, then we have to go to Plan B and find another route. Mr. Tovo, right? Are we on the same page with that?
We are.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Desiree, do you mind? I just had one question. What happened to the process that we talked about last year with the company, I believe, that's in Garfield on Outwater Lane, that we were going to use them? And then did that change, or are they, because of COVID, no longer in business? Did something happen there?
We decided to go with name checks only, so we didn't force our volunteer coaches to go there for live fingerprints.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
So I think we should set a timeline to be able to update so that it doesn't fall by the wayside, because it is super important. Is that something that we can do, Mr. Tovo, where we can kind of touch base and say by this date everyone has to be background checked, or we can't move forward with whatever it is? I think we need a hard stop.
Yeah, I do agree with that. This is the first time I'm learning of the name of the company. I'm obviously familiar with them, so I will reach out to them myself.
Okay, I can help you if you need, assistance with it. It's something that I can do on my end as well. Research other organizations that can do this. That way we have a plan C in case plan B doesn't work. But the bottom line is we just need to get it done.
Mr. Tovo, we also
Desiree, if I might step in a second.
Sure.
Desiree, if I might step in. The AAU has a good background check, network or company that they use. They're very reputable throughout the United States. So if you would look into that, that would be a great idea. I don't know what their cost is, but Amateur Athletic Union.
Yep.
They do it for all their members. It's required, or you can't be you can't coach for them. So I'll look into that, see who they use, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Every bit helps.
No problem. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for that. That was a great update. For the grants for the fire truck, I believe this was answered at the previous meeting per my notes, and that the grant writer is looking into it. That's correct, Mayor Kalmari and Mr. Tovo?
Yeah, I can answer that. Currently, there were no grants that we were eligible for either the building or the ladder truck. Now, that does change with every new grant rollout that comes out, so he's monitoring to see if we could be available for future ones. But in the last 12 months he's been with us, that opportunity has not presented itself.
Okay, so there's nothing available. So based on the grant writer's research, there's nothing available at this time.
Not for those two items.
Okay, thank you very much. And if Mr. Mayor, if you'll permit me, on 450 Pascack, the administration is still working on that, those negotiations, and there's no update at this time. But just so you know, anything that's negotiated behind the scenes cannot be spoken about until some sort of agreement has come. Correct, Mr. Mayor?
That's correct. And also, let me say, I would expect to have an update, not at our sign die meeting, because that meeting's usually pretty full, but the one afterwards, we should have all the research done by then.
Great. So Mr. Udina, Mr. Scalia, I know those are two points that at one point that you're interested in specifically. Okay. I don't have anything else. To any of the council members. Councilman Cummings, do you have any comments?
No, ma'am, not at this time, not for those questions.
Okay. Councilman Casio?
No, I think everything was covered. Thank you.
Councilman DeSena?
Just a couple things. Just want to wish everyone a happy holiday in the holiday season. Great job by football and the cheerleaders. I guess Scott Spezial was looking down on us this year, and I'd like to see something done similar like we're doing for Vito at Memorial Field, some kind of recognition given to Scott at Memorial Field. Maybe if it's putting another banner underneath the scoreboard to call the football portion Scott Spezial Field or something. But I think the council, we should start looking at doing something for Scott because he was an integral part of that program. He ran the program. It was his, he made it what it is today. So we should do something to recognize Scott. On the grants, we don't have anything given to us to date, as Mrs. Feeney said. And the Viviano refund, I guess, are we going to discuss that later on when it comes up? Stacey?
No, it's actually being pulled off the meeting. It's not going to be discussed. Being pulled off the agenda.
Thank you.
No problem.
And Desiree, you can reach out to me anytime. There's two vendors that Little League gives us to use to do background checks. One is called JDF, and the other one is Nexus Lexus. I can give you all the information offline. We've been talking about this for 3 years, and we still haven't gotten it done. So it's time to do something.
That's right.
Appreciate it.
Would anyone from the administration, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Tovo?
Yes, I would. Thank you. As far as the DPW goes, one thing that's not in my report later, but I did want to point out, in one of the meetings that the administrator and I had with the DPW, it seems like someone marked off a lot more trees there than will actually be coming down. We don't know who marked them or why they marked them, but the DPW says it's a lot more than they marked. So the orange X's that you're seeing, all of those trees should not be coming down. We will keep it to a minimum as the trees coming down. As far as the Vivianos paying their taxes, I can't explain why they did pay. That's a question for them, obviously. We can't speculate on that. I think the Viviano other parts have been answered mostly. I do want to point out, I believe the grant writer this year to date has secured for us about $127,000 worth of grants. So that's a good thing. But yes, I concur with what Administrator Tovo said, that he's looking, but there is nothing out there for fire, either house or equipment.
What grant is that, Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry?
The $127,000 grant. What grant is that?
No, it's a combination of that he's done this year.
In total.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Total monies.
Correct. 450 Pascack been spoken about. Yes, regarding Scott Spezial, not administrator, Director Toomey and I are working on something with his family to do something with the field or the scoreboard or something. So yes, it is being worked on.
That's great. That's very proactive.
Yeah.
Great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Mr. Tovo, do you have anything to add?
Just one thing on the tree issue raised by Mr. Ullman. That might have been just the nearest address to where the tree was, or the tree fell on our roadway and we had to remove it. We do not remove trees from private property.
Okay. Thank you very much for clarifying that. Anybody else?
Councilman DeSena and Councilman Casio, can you also make sure, if you're going to send it to me, can you send it to Mr. Tovo also? I think if we're both working on it, we may get it done faster.
Sure.
The information on the background check.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. I already got the name of the company that AAU uses, so I'll send that out tonight.
Wonderful. Thanks. I appreciate it.
No
Great,
problem.
great collaboration. Collaboration is cool.
Good. Let's make some headway. Let's go.
All right, ordinance adoption, second reading. Ordinance number 20-15, an ordinance of the Township of Washington, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 540, Article 21 of the Township Code entitled Affordable Housing to clarify and supplement provisions of the ordinance relating to a very low-income household, the calculation of income limits, and monitoring of the Township's Affordable Housing Plan in accordance with the requirements of the court, the New Jersey Fair Housing Act, and relevant regulations governing the provision of affordable housing. Resolution number 20-334, authorizing second reading and opening of public hearing for ordinance 20-15. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second. Okay, discussion. Actually, are we going to have, actually, we have Stan Slatt.
Roll call.
Sorry, roll call, sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Preliminary comments for ordinance 20-15. We have, Stan, I always get your last name wrong. I'm sorry.
That's quite right. It's Slathetka.
Slathetka. We have Stan Slathetka here from TM&M Associates to give us some preliminary comments regarding this matter before we open the floor. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Councilman. I'll be very brief and focused in terms of the comments. Ordinance number 20-15, along with ordinance 2016 and 2017 that you'll be having second reading on in just a moment, are amendments to existing ordinances that are on the books right now in the township. As you know, the township, and for those people in the general public, the township has a housing plan that was recently approved by the court, which sets forth the township's affordable housing obligation and the ways in which the community is going to be addressing that obligation. As part of the review of the housing plan by the court appointed what's called a court-appointed planning master, which is basically a professional planner in the state of New Jersey that advises the court on the affordable housing matters, including the review of any housing plan. That court master made certain recommendations to the court with regards to the township's approval, which included a variety of different conditions. Among them, some amendments to the township's existing affordable housing ordinances. Most of these amendments are very technical in nature. And again, these are ordinances that have been previously approved and adopted by the township. And they're just basically being amended to, including ordinance number 20-15, being amended to respond to the court master's request, and also to make sure that the ordinances are fully up to date and consistent with the requirements of the court and current regulations. So the first one, 2015, is amending what's called the township's affordable housing ordinance. And the affordable housing ordinance is an ordinance that basically governs the requirements when a development is providing affordable housing as part of the development. that the ordinance, the affordable housing ordinance, basically governs the process and procedures and various requirements for the construction of the affordable housing units, the way that they're marketed to the region, and making sure that that people who are income qualified occupy those units. So because the township is, as part of its plan, creating a number of affordable housing units, it is required to have an affordable housing ordinance, and it does in fact have one, as I said, on the books. So the amendment in this instance is really three very, very technical amendments to the affordable housing ordinance. The first amendment is related to the way that units are determined to be affordable, calculating the affordability of the affordable housing units, as well as the way that the individuals or families that are going to be occupying those units, how they become income qualified, to make sure that they are in fact low and moderate income households to occupy these units, and how their income, what is the maximum income that would be qualified to basically occupy those units. Very, very technical in nature, relates to sort of targets things to the housing, the Federal Housing and Urban Development Standards, and your administrative agent, which is the Community Grants Planning and Housing, which is responsible for affirmative marketing, making sure that the units are occupied by qualified households. It really, the provisions of this First Amendment govern the way they undertake their procedures and process. The Second Amendment is, again, it's very, very technical in nature. There is a requirement pursuant the current statutory requirements that 13% of the affordable units that are created in the township are eligible to be occupied by families that are what's called qualified as very low income families, which are 30% or have an annual income that is 30% of the median for the region in which the township is located, in which Bergen County is located. We had a provision that identified that as being 10% of the affordable units, and the amendment is really updating that to indicate 13%, to make sure that it's consistent with current statutory requirements, and that is required by statute. There's no change, or the township doesn't have any flexibility in that. And then the Third Amendment, and again, these amendments are very technical in nature, relate to the way in which the township is required to submit on an annual basis monitoring documents to the court, basically monitoring the township's progress in achieving its affordable housing obligation. And essentially the ordinance, and we were requested to amend the ordinance to track the same language that exists in a settlement agreement that was entered into between the township and the Fair Share Housing Center, which is the advocacy group for affordable housing statewide that's involved with all the various affordable housing litigation matters around the state, and was party to the township's proposed affordable housing plan before the court. So again, very, very technical in nature. And it is amending an existing statute. So this is really not a new process, but basically allowing the township to be up to date and consistent with the courtmaster's recommendations for the township's affordable housing ordinance.
Great, thank you very much for that explanation. I think that definitely gives a clearer picture of these very technical ordinances. Thank you. And you're going to stay on the line also to help us answer any questions that come in.
Absolutely.
Great. And we're very grateful that you're able to join us tonight.
Thank you.
If anyone desires to be heard regarding ordinance number 20-15, please dial in on 201-664-4659. You'll be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. Please note that at the end of the public hearing, no more calls will be accepted. Motion to open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Do roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Wait, we did this already.
Oh, we did this already. You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm sorry. No, now it's open to the public. So if they want to do, if they want to listen to anything, if they want to say anything, so I'll open the line.
Okay, open the line. Is there anyone on the line regarding ordinance number 20-15?
Hello, is there anyone there? I don't think so.
Okay, motion to close public hearing for ordinance 20-15.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Motion to, do we need to have any discussion with the council? Okay, motion to adopt ordinance number 20-15 at second reading by title. May I have I'll motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Mike, just say it again. Sorry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Ordinance number 20-16, an ordinance of the Township of Washington, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 513 of the Township Code entitled Development Fees to update provisions associated with affordable housing development fees. Resolution number 20-335, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 20-16. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Stan, do you have any comments regarding this specific item that you'd like to mention?
Yes, this is the second of the three ordinances. Again, it's an ordinance that is amending an existing ordinance that currently is on the books. And it is another component of the way in which the township is implementing its court-approved housing plan. And again, the amendment in this instance was requested by the court master, and again, primarily to bring the provisions of the township's current mandatory development fee ordinance up to date with current court-approved standards and requirements. And again, it was based on the recommendations that the court planning master made to the court as part of our approval of the township's housing plan. In this instance, the ordinance relates to the what's called the mandatory development fee requirements in the ordinance. Essentially, any development, whether it's residential or commercial, that is proposed and approved within the township that is not providing affordable housing as part of the development is required to pay a fee for affordable housing purposes. That fee is deposited into a separate trust fund and can be only used for the implementation of the various components of the township's affordable housing plan, including the administration of the plan, such as payments for the community grants, planning and housing, and other administrative purposes. So it's a way to fund any of the affordable housing activities that are taking place. And it essentially is a required component of the implementation of the township's plan. It already exists, as I indicated, and the township, when there's an eligible project, is required to collect those fees for both residential and commercial uses. I should point out that the fees for commercial properties commercial developments are required by statute, and if the township did not have a development ordinance, those monies would go directly to the state and not be retained by the township. Because the township does have a development fee ordinance and will continue to do so even with the amendments, that it has the opportunity to retain these fees. The standards for the collection, the ordinance talks about the standards for how the fees are collected. What if a developer wishes to appeal the collection of those fees, what the procedures for such an appeal are, and it sets forth the percentages of an equalized assessed value that is charged for the various developments, both residential and non-residential. There was a request by the court master, based on input from the Fair Share Housing Center, to require the collection of fees in situations where a residential property, single-family residential property, would be demolished completely and replaced by a brand new structure that was larger in size or greater in value. The net difference that would be of that value would be assessed a fee. Normally, based in other towns, that fee would be 1.5% of the equalized assessed value of the increase in improvements. Based on conversations and discussions that we had with the council and a request by the council to the court master in the court, we were able to reduce that amount to 0.5% of equalized assessed value, essentially getting a two-tier approach, which I think is a great benefit to the township. And otherwise, essentially the process and structure of the ordinance is consistent with those ordinances that have been approved in many other towns. And again, it's really a required component of the township's implementation of its housing plan. And as I said, it is a mechanism by which the funding of the township's plan can take place. But essentially, that's, again, the ordinance is based on the requirements and requests of the court master, condition of the court approval of the housing plan, and it's an amendment of an existing ordinance on the books. I should point out that both for this ordinance as well as the prior ordinance and ordinance number 17, they were all reviewed by the planning board and determined to be consistent with the township's master plan in accordance with the requirements for review under the municipal land use law.
Okay, that's great. We have the ordinance and that the planning board is also in agreement and that we are meeting the master plan too. I'm just making some notes. Okay, Sue, you want to open the line, please, or is it still open?
No, I'm going to open it up again. Is there anyone there to be heard on ordinance 20-16? Hello? I don't think anyone's there either.
Okay, motion to close public portion of the meeting or 20-16.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 20-16 at second reading by title. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
I'll second. Do we need to have discussion? Okay, Stu, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Ordinance number 20-17, an ordinance of the Township of Washington, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 540 entitled Land Development, amending the Township's mandatory affordable housing set aside requirement on the new multifamily residential development. Resolution number 20-336, authorizing second reading and opening of public hearing for ordinance 20-12. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Stan, would you like to make some comments on this portion?
Yes, thank you. So this is the third and final ordinance of the series of 3 ordinances that are required as a condition of the township's approval by the court of its housing plan. And again, this ordinance specifically was recommended, or the amendment to this ordinance was recommended by the court-appointed planning master again, to make the ordinance consistent with ordinances of similar nature that have been adopted throughout the state of New Jersey and approved by the court. Because the township has, as part of its housing plan, determined that there's limited vacant developable land available to develop affordable housing in the municipality. It was able to reduce its overall obligation, and that reduction in obligation was approved by the court, reviewed by the court master, and approved by the court. As a requirement of that vacant land adjustment and the reduction in the obligation, the township's required to implement various mechanisms to potentially capture opportunities for affordable housing that might not be apparent initially when the township had its approval of the plan. One of those mechanisms is the adoption of what's called the mandatory set-aside ordinance, which means that if the township council rezoned a parcel or the zoning board of adjustment granted a use variance or density variance for a development, a multifamily residential development of 5 or more units, that there'd be a commensurate, what's called a set aside, or a portion of the units that were approved would have to be dedicated for the purpose of affordable housing. And typically that would be 20% for sale and 15% if the units were for rent. So a 5-unit multifamily residential development with a 20% set aside, of those 5 units, 1 would have to be affordable. Now, this is in circumstances where such units are not already permitted. But again, if the zoning board, say, for example, the zoning board heard an application for a use variance and granted an approval for multifamily residential housing, that set aside of 5 units or more, that set aside would be required as part of it. And again, this ordinance is already on the books and is a current requirement within the township's land use regulations. The amendment that is being requested and is being proposed as part of Ordinance 20-17 actually is a clause that I think helps protect the township, because it specifically indicates or states that requirement, the mandatory set-aside requirement, does not give any developer a right to such rezoning, variance, or other relief, or establish any obligation on the part of Washington Township to grant such rezoning, variance, or other relief. No subdivision shall be permitted or approved for the purpose of avoiding compliance with this requirement. Essentially, what this does is it indicates that even though that this requirement, this mandatory set-aside requirement, is on the books, developer can't go before the zoning board of adjustment and basically compel the zoning board to grant a variance because it's providing affordable, it's proposing a multifamily residential development and providing affordable housing. So it basically says just because that applicant is doing so is not in of itself a justification for the grant of the variance. The applicant would be required to provide all necessary statutory proofs to be able to get that variance. So I think, and it's a technical amendment to an existing ordinance, but I think in this instance, it's a wise protection. I think a good added clarification of the intent of the mandatory set-aside ordinance, I think benefits the township. And again, the planning board reviewed this pursuant to the requirements of the municipal land use law and made a determination that the proposed ordinance is consistent with the master plan.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time also and your clear explanation of these resolutions. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Motion to adopt ordinance. Oh, sorry. We need to open. Sue, can you open the line? Is there anyone on the line for ordinance number 20-17?
Anyone there? Nothing.
Okay. Motion to close public hearing for ordinance 20-17.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Calcio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 20-17 at second reading by title. I'll make the motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
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 Do we need any discussion? I just want to say great job on this. Thank you for all your hard work. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
And thanks, Dan, for his excellent participation and intelligent explanation of the difficult subject matter.
It is difficult. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your
Thank you,
your
Stan.
kind words. Thank you. Do you need me to stay with the for the resolutions?
You're muted. Mr. Fowler, you're muted.
Sorry, Ken.
I made Ken speechless.
Yeah. What I was going to say is don't leave yet because there are a fair amount of resolutions on the consent agenda
Yes.
regarding the spending plan. There may be some questions, so stay for that.
Okay, no
Sure.
problem.
I will.
Ken, can you stay with us for a little longer?
Yes, of
It's
course.
the bitter end, eh?
Okay. That was good. Okay. Resolutions and consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from consent agenda. I'm going to let you know that resolution number 20-314 is removed from the consent agenda and will not be brought for motion tonight. Does any council member want to have another resolution removed?
337, please.
Anybody else? Okay. Resolution number 20-328 authorized payment to lien holder B2. Sorry, what? I'm
Stacey,
sorry.
Can we pull 348 also? I have a couple questions on that one.
Okay. Resolution number 20-337 authorized, resolution number 20-338 authorized refund of payment to lien holder B2301L1464 Ridgewood Boulevard North in the amount of $101,250.39. Resolution number 20-339 authorized refund of payment to lien holder B4320L6405 Park Place in the amount of $54,821.12. Resolution number 20-340 authorized tax collector to cancel property tax bills B2101 Lot 8, 15 Rayburn Drive, veteran tax exempt status. Resolution number 20-341 authorized execution of shared service agreement with the Borough of Paramus for vehicle maintenance for the year of 2021. Resolution number 20-342 authorized execution of interlocal agreement with the Borough of Paramus for street sweeping services for the year 2021. Resolution number 20-343 authorized adoption and maintenance of the hazard mitigation plan. Resolution number 20-344 designating time and place of 2021 council meetings. Resolution number 20-345 authorized adoption of affordable housing trust fund spending plan. Resolution number 20-346 authorized commitment to fund costs associated with implementation of housing element and fair share plan. Resolution number 20-347 authorized adoption of an affordable housing affirmative marketing plan. Motion to approve consent agenda resolutions. I'll make the motion. I need a second, please.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Okay. Resolution number 20-337, authorized payment of bills December 3rd, 2020 to December 16th, 2020. May I have a motion?
So
We
moved.
discuss.
I know, I'm going to motion first, then discuss.
Yep.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second. Okay, Councilman DeSena, discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Tovo, we paid Boswell 2 times for the 2019 road improvement project, totaling close to $35,000. Any reason they have what's that?
That is correct. That's not part of their retainer, that's additional cost for their services.
But it got billed to various improvement road ADA grant.
It got charged to the road program.
No, it got charged to various improvement road ADA grant, $111,650.
If you look at the ordinance, that's how the ordinance for the road program is written.
But that was the refund we were supposed to get from the county. Do we ever receive that refund from the county?
Not as of yet.
Any reason we haven't received that? It's been almost 2 years.
Well, it hasn't been almost 2 years. It's been barely a year, and I was advised to.
Well, the ADA ramps were done. The ADA ramps were done.
Please let Mr. Tovo finish.
As of last week, it was in the hands of the county DPW director, and we're waiting for him to approve the payment.
So do we think we're going to get it soon?
We certainly hope so.
All right. Second question is, they billed another $3,800.25 in the same various improvement roadway ADA grant. That makes it close to $40,000.
That's correct. We had multiple bills from.
Were these for plans and specs for the roadway program?
They were plans,
I'm sorry, Mr.
specs,
Tovo,
and
can you
also
finish what you were saying? Go ahead.
they were plans, specs, and also their inspectors.
Don't interrupt.
Okay. One more question I had was on page. We have inspection reports from their inspectors, Mr. Tovo?
I believe I have some, but not all. I can forward them to council if you like.
Broke up there.
I have some, I don't believe I have all of them yet, but I can send what I have.
All right. And then we have JAG Paving Corp. It all got paid to Memorial Field and Gardner.
I had questions.
Is that for the, what's that?
I had questions on that one too. I saw that.
Yeah, if council will recall, there was grant money available for that, and we had some matching funds, but we didn't have enough to pay for the entire project. So we knew all along we had to find the balance elsewhere. So the road program was the most appropriate place to take that out of.
That was brought up during the budget, correct, Mr. Tovo?
It's been discussed a number of times.
Yeah, but we're making an emergency appropriation also for it now.
Where are we doing that?
Line 2 for $21,093.
The same amount.
What page are you on?
Page 11, Mr. Tovo. I remember the juggling we had to do to find the rest of the money, but I don't ever remember requesting an emergency appropriation for it.
Oh, I believe that was from actually the last year's budget where the matching funds were not placed in the budget. So at the end of last year, we had to do that $89,000 in emergency appropriations. That was part of that.
Because it says first encumbered date 12/15/20. That's why I didn't think it had anything to do with last year, because it just got encumbered.
Well, I do with last year's budget. The $89,000 we had to do the emergency appropriation on. 21,000 of it was for the matching funds not being placed in the 19 budget.
Okay. That's all I have, Mrs. Feeney.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any items regarding this resolution? Okay, Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
No.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Councilman DeSena, do you have any unanswered questions?
I just on 348. That's all I want.
No on 337? Was there anything that wasn't answered?
Yeah, I just wasn't happy with the answers. That's all. It's my vote.
Okay. Resolution number 20-348, authorize appointment of Robert Tovo, Township Administrator, as Municipal Housing Liaison. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I'll motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, Councilman DeSena.
Mr. Tovo, this is the second year we're appointing you. Was the class not offered this year because of COVID?
I was not appointed last year. The former CFO held that position.
Hold on, I had something. I got to just find it.
So, Mr. Tovo, you were not appointed last year. This would be your first year as the housing liaison, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's fine. So you will be taking the class to become the liaison officer, Mr. Tovo?
They resume again in January.
Is there any monetary event that will be triggered by you becoming this, getting this title?
There is a cost for the classes, yes.
Other than the cost, will it change your salary?
It will not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tovo, for taking on this responsibility with no additional financial benefit. Anybody else have any questions regarding this?
No.
Anyone else? Okay. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Adjournment to conference agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Need a second, please?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, organization.
Stacy, I think at this point, I think there's nothing for Stan to hang around for, I think, right?
Yes, thank you again very much, Stan. We
You're
really
free, Stan.
all appreciate your time.
Thank you, Stan.
Yeah, and thank you, everybody. And as always, I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and a very safe and happy New Year.
Same to you, Sam.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Just one announcement, reorganization meeting of the Township Council will be on Monday, January 4th, 2021, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Sign up for e-alerts and Swift 911 notifications at www.twpofwashington.us. Okay, conference agenda, December 21st, 2020. Mr. Tovo, draft bid specs recycling vegetative waste. You're up.
Thank you, Ms. Feeney. As with our last meeting, I given council a preview of items that have to go out to bid in 2021. This again was a carryover through 2020. Again, the environment for putting things out to bid just was not favorable. I would ask that you review the draft and get back to me via phone call or email with any questions, comments, or concerns.
Okay, great.
Same format we've used in the past.
Does anybody have any questions now for Mr. Tovo regarding this?
No.
No.
No, thank you.
Okay, great.
Mr. Tovo, I'm sorry. Is there any way we could have the, like, I guess we load the trucks up currently, right? So we have to take some of our DPW staff and use them to load the trucks when they get here?
Well, I don't believe we load the trucks when they get here. They do it themselves.
Oh, they do load them themselves?
Yes.
Okay, I thought our guys loaded the trucks.
To the best of my knowledge, they don't do that anymore, but I will double check that.
Yeah.
All right, that's the only question I would have, because if not, can we include it in the bid that they load it themselves?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Once you determine that I believe we load them, but I may be mistaken, so.
Yeah, I believe sorry, Mayor, go ahead.
Yeah, we were having a meeting at the site one day when they were being loaded, and it was not our people, it was the hauler.
Oh, good, okay, that's good to hear.
Yep.
But to your point that we should make that clear in the contract, in the bid spec.
Thank you, Mr. Silva.
And the only thing I had was that if there was going to be a change in the date and they didn't notify us, so we could notify the residents that there was a financial impact to the carrier also.
Changing the date for what, Ms.
Any
Queen?
kind of change whatsoever.
Okay. We can do that.
To avoid the issues that occurred last year.
Yeah, but this is only for the leaves at Sherry Field, right, Mr. Tovo? This is not for residential pickup at our curbs.
Well, I'm just saying in general, we should be notified prior. There
Okay,
should-
but
with all of our contracts, if they don't notify us and make a change, there should be some sort of an impact so that we encourage them to cooperate with our staff and us.
But I just want to confirm that this is only for picking up leaves at Cherry Field that we dumped there from the leaf program, correct, Mr. Tova?
You are correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else regarding this item? Mr. Mayor, 2021 commuter parking follow-up.
Unfortunately, I don't have anything to report. We're still trying to hammer out an agreement with one of the places in the vicinity to come up with a commuter parking agreement. I'm hoping to have something in place by the Sinai meeting.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, again, DPW temporary location.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to read off a prepared statement because I didn't want to forget anything, just winging it. We'll be utilizing the town-owned property at the end of Hudson Ave, adjacent to the doghouse parking lot, to house two 12 by 24 residential-looking storage sheds for the DPW. No trucks will be stored there. Councilman Casio initially suggested we evaluate this site to use to save every taxpayer dollar possible and not spend money on temporary rental locations, so I encourage people to thank him for that suggestion. If they are no longer needed at that location, we will plant new trees to replace the ones coming down. They may have to remain there permanently if the DPW stays in its current location at Town Hall. This will help remedy the lack of space and storage issues in their current space. We will also be using a small piece of town-owned land that is adjacent to Sherry Field to construct a two-bay garage for basic maintenance and repair of equipment. On the tax maps, it is referred to as Brook Avenue, and it is currently unimproved. It will be set back from the road and sight lines consistent with the houses on that road. All of the buildings will be modular construction and therefore movable based on changing needs and plans. I want to inform everyone that in the past and prior to my administration, Green Acres grant money was accepted by the town for all the parks, in town, excuse me. Taking Green Acres money binds all the parkland to being usable only for recreation. We will be using a portion of the Sherry Field parking lot for temporary parking and storage of the DPW vehicles, as this is a permitted use within the Green Acres restrictions. We have also made available enough temporary space in Town Hall to base the employees from there during this temporary period, saving money and not renting temporary office trailers. That was also made possible due to us being able to locate a lot of the vehicles at the back of Valley Bank. So again, we appreciate their kind gesture. The dump operation will continue to take place in the Town Hall parking lot. These spaces will enable the department to continue operations until a new facility is built. These decisions were not made lightly. Being in an already mostly built-out town leaves us with limited options when needs like this arise. The department will do their best at all locations to keep the disturbance to the area residents at a minimum. As always, reach out to myself or Administrator Tovo if you have any concerns about the operation going on at the locations. We are considering and investigating all possible locations and options for permanent space for the new DPW building. So if anyone has any knowledge of practical and viable space or any workable ideas, please bring them to the attention of myself or the administrator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Anybody have any questions? Ordinances, legislation, non-financial miscellaneous. The last item on our agenda is 2021 budget meeting dates. You can all see it on the agenda. I'd like to know if anybody has any conflicts, or if you look now to the future, if you have any conflicts, could you email me and Sue and let us know? These are Saturdays from 9 to 2. So I know COVID's going on. We'll figure out how we're doing it and what we're doing it at a later date to see what happens over the holiday, because who knows if the numbers are going to go up or stay the same. So I don't want to make any suggestions or put anybody in an awkward position until we know what the new year brings with COVID. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's still a moving target.
Yeah, literally. Does 9 to 2 seem okay time-wise? I didn't want to too early and go too late. I thought that would be a good start to see where we end up.
That's fine.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, there's no closed session. So I just want to say on behalf of council that I'm sure that this will be a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And please, everyone, stay safe. And we hope you have a joyous holiday.
Yes,
Thanks, everybody.
I echo that. Thank you, Stacey.
Same.
Same.
Thank you. You too.
And to the council also, have a joyous holiday.
You
And
too,
Mayor,
everyone.
Mr. Fowler, Mr.
Thank you.
Tover.
Enjoy.
Everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Okay. Motion to adjourn meeting.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Bye.
All in favor?
Aye. Good night,
Aye.
everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Very good, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Bye.